My teacher humiliated me in front of everyone, so I exposed her dirty secret. My chemistry teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, made me stand in front of the entire class and called me a lazy, worthless student who would never amount to anything in life. I'm 16 and a junior in high school. I've always been decent at chemistry, usually getting B's and A's, but lately I'd been struggling because my dad lost his job and I've been working at a grocery store after school to help pay bills. My grades slipped from A's to C's over the past month, and Mrs. Rodriguez noticed. Last Tuesday, she handed back our midterm exams. I got a 73, which wasn't great, but wasn't failing either. When she got to my desk, she held up my paper and announced loudly, "Class, this is what happens when you stop caring about your education." My face went bright red as she continued. "Maybe if you spent less time making excuses and more time studying, you wouldn't disappoint everyone around you like you clearly disappoint your parents." The entire classroom went dead silent. I could feel 30 pairs of eyes burning into me. Mrs. Rodriguez made me stand up and said, "Tell the class why you think you deserve to pass, when you obviously don't put in any effort." My voice cracked as I tried to explain that I'd been working to help my family, but she cut me off and said, "Excuses won't get you anywhere in the real world." That night, I went home and cried for the first time in years. My mom was furious and wanted to call the school immediately, but I begged her not to because I was afraid Mrs. Rodriguez would make things even worse for me. What happened next changed everything. The following week, I was walking past the teacher's lounge during lunch when I heard Mrs. Rodriguez talking to another teacher. The door was slightly open, and I could see her sitting at a table grading papers. She was complaining about her students and said something that made my blood run cold. She said, "These kids are so stupid, especially that Martinez boy. I love putting little brats like him in their place. His family probably doesn't even care about his education anyway." Then she said something that made me pull out my phone and start recording. Mrs. Rodriguez started talking about how she deliberately gave certain students lower grades because she didn't like them. She mentioned 3 specific students by name, including me, and bragged about how she marked down their tests even when the answers were correct. She said, "What are they going to do, complain? No one believes students over teachers." She was literally admitting to academic fraud while laughing about it. I recorded everything for almost 5 minutes. She talked about how she enjoyed making students feel worthless and how she targeted kids from working class families because they were less likely to have parents who would fight back. She called us expendable and said crushing our confidence early would save everyone time later. The next morning, I went straight to the superintendent's office before school started. I told his secretary it was urgent and involved teacher misconduct. When Dr. Williams heard the recording, his face went white. He immediately called in the principal and the head of the school board. By third period, Mrs. Rodriguez was called to the principal's office. I was sitting in math class when I saw her walking down the hallway with 2 school board members. She looked confused and annoyed, probably thinking it was just another routine meeting. 20 minutes later, she came storming out of the office carrying a cardboard box. Her face was bright red, and she looked like she was about to cry. Word spread through the school like wildfire. The principal made an announcement over the intercom that afternoon. He said Mrs. Rodriguez was no longer employed by the school district and that any student who felt their grades were unfairly affected should report to the guidance office immediately. 12 students came forward, including the 3 she mentioned by name in the recording. They reviewed all our tests and assignments, and it turned out she'd been systematically lowering grades for months. My chemistry grade went from a C to an A after they properly graded my work. The other affected students saw similar improvements. Mrs. Rodriguez tried to appeal her termination, but the recording was too damaged. The teachers union couldn't even defend her because she'd admitted to intentional academic fraud on tape. She was also banned from working in any school district in the state.